Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Prime Minister Allen Chastanet has signaled his great enthusiasm as the airport redevelopment project commences. The matter has been marred by controversy given that many have questioned the wisdom of spending millions of dollars on an airport whilst people struggle to maintain their livelihoods amid the COVID-19 pandemic. But Prime Minister Allen Chastanet argues that it is for this reason that the project is vital. The HIA redevelopment project has been the subject of intensely debated arguments regarding the government's fiscal prudence during a time when the citizenry is reeling from the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The HIA redevelopment project has been the subject of intensely debated arguments regarding the government's fiscal prudence during a time when the citizenry is reeling from the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The criticisms and questions have not daunted the efforts of the Allen Chastanet-led government to not just embark on the project, but to see it through to completion.
In terms of the project starting right now, we're very excited. It's taken a long time to get to this place, to get all the financing secured. It has been secured. There's over $88 million currently in the lockbox as we speak. So it means that the bankers are very secure in knowing that even if COVID continues and there's a continuing dampening on arrivals, there's certainly enough monies in the lockbox to carry the existing loans for at least 3 years without getting any new traffic. But to commence the project now is a feat in itself and very exciting. But certainly with COVID and the need to be able to have other economic activity on the ground, obviously it's very meaningful.
The Prime Minister says the process is progressing smoothly and the project will not endanger the stability of the country. He says those worried about the impact of COVID-19 should support the project because it will generate employment.
You'll know that the World Bank has come in with a $45 million loan, very concessionary loan, 40 years, a 10-year moratorium at a 0.5% interest. And that is to review the flood problems in that area and also to deal with the resurfacing of the runway and to put in the navigational lighting equipment for the airport facility. So again, that loan has been approved and we should be going out to tender very soon on the resurfacing part and the sourcing of the navigation equipment. So I think this is really good news for St. Lucia. One, the immediacy of the jobs that it's going to create, but two, at the end of the project, we would have significantly improved the capacity of the country.
He underscored that the project has been in the works for some 15 years and says for any traveler, it is painfully obvious that the airport needs upgrading. The restaurant sector is proving to be one of the hardest hit by COVID-19 around the world, and St. Lucia is no different. Tourism Minister Dominic Fede is expressing concerns about the ripple effects that St. Lucians will feel by the decision to not have dine-in services. Nisha Charles reports.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect the global food industry as governments close down restaurants and bars to slow the spread of the virus. Worldwide, restaurants' daily traffic plummeted compared to the same period in 2019. Closures of restaurants caused a ripple effect among related industries such as food production, liquor, wine and beer production, food and beverage shipping, fishing and farming. Recently, Tourism Minister Dominic Fede met with representatives of the restaurant industry to listen to their concerns and to help alleviate some of their burdens. Fede asked for their shared sacrifices at this time.
It is very difficult to police the hundreds of restaurants that are all over St. Lucia. But we do understand that a lot of them are small businesses. A lot of them haven't worked in 11 months. In some cases, those that serve the cruise lines are even harder. And it is extremely punishing, the economic circumstances. And so we took the time, even though today being a cabinet day, to be able to explain to the sector some of the challenges that we're having.
The minister was asked why restaurants at COVID-19 certified accommodations were not given the option to operate under normal circumstances.
It becomes extremely difficult to police the sector. There are hundreds and hundreds of restaurants all over St. Lucia. And without the wardens, without the extra capacity, it becomes a nightmare to be able to police. And so what we have to do is to try as much as possible as we go through this period of an outbreak locally in an effort to stem the flow of cases. What we want to do is to try to have a situation in the country where we reduce the amount of interaction and socialization between individuals. And so by reducing that socialization, we believe that we stand a better chance at reducing the spread of the virus across the country.
The minister is hopeful that the sector would be able to reopen come December 14, when the COVID-19 wardens would be stationed in full force. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Contention between the Taxi Association of the North and South of the island will soon be over. Come December, taxi drivers in the North will be able to pick up passengers from the Uanora Airport. Since the reopening of the borders to flights and passengers on the 4th of June 2020, only the Southern Taxi Association has been allowed to pick up passengers from the international airport. The PRO of Holiday Taxi Association, Anthony Richard, is relieved at the latest decision by the Ministry of Tourism and SLASPA.
The person, the client who you are picking up should have all your information, your cell phone number, your TX number, and then when they got to the customs department or after they cleared customs, then to the relevant authorities will call you and let you know this person is here to pick you up, for you to be picked them up. And it has been different, so to speak. There is no waiting on the signs and they say like you're picking up that person or you're picking up that person, which I believe is good for the current situation with the coronavirus. So they don't want too many people to mingle at the airport. So I believe this is step one for us, and we're looking forward, as time goes by, maybe it will be even better.
According to Tourism Minister Dominic Fede, taxi drivers are already putting things in place in anticipation of the resumption of service.
We've had some very good meetings. There was another meeting later in the week with SLASPA, and my information is that they have reached a decision and they've gotten approval. We are seeing at the Ministry of Tourism today, Monday, a number of taxi drivers coming in to get their COVID sticker, their certification, so that they can be able to ply their trade. So I think that the date, don't quote me, should be sometime second week December is when I anticipate that they will resume operations. As the demand for our destination and as the arrival number increases, what you will find is that we will need more capacity in the taxi sector to do the airport transfer.
That was Tourism Minister Dominic Fede. Prime Minister Alan Shastney says as the Uanora International Airport redevelopment project gets underway, the days of racing at the Kakabeth are over. He explains that plans for the relocation of the racing strip to replace the Kakabeth were progressing before the advent of COVID-19. However, he says due to the pandemic, those efforts were curtailed and put on the back burner.
The bottom part is part of it is being taken up because that's where the foundation of the airport is going to go. But the length of the Kakabeth is not being touched at all, but more than likely will not be usable because now that's becoming part of the airport. So the fuel storage facility is actually going adjacent to where the industrial estate is. So, the days for racing at that location, sadly, are over, and we are been working with the association to identify a new piece of land with the idea of building a more dedicated facility for racing in St. Lucia, because we think it's an important element. Sadly, because of what we're doing, it can't take place in that way.
He said land in Dennery was being looked at to facilitate the creation of the new racing strip. The Prime Minister says he has been pleased with the level of collaboration and cooperation from the racing community.
So we've been working with them. So from day one. So this is nothing that was done in secret. So from the time that we knew that we were moving the airport into that location, I have to say to you that they've been incredibly cooperative, and even when, before the construction started, and they wanted to have some events there, we facilitated them. Sadly, COVID stopped some of the plans that they had, but they've all understood what the construction of the airport and the expansion of the airport would mean. And it was because of that we met with a group of them twice at my office and have identified a different location. And we're currently putting designs together for that. In fact, a person within the region who's actually built those sites is helping to facilitate that. So it's been in full collaboration.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, St. Lucia is the world's leading honeymoon destination, and legislators are inching closer to cannabis reform.